All right. Now we wait. Okay, I'm just learning this live stream stuff and I was trying to make it film horizontal. So I may have canceled the original stream. I'm sorry. But I've restarted it now. This video has been removed by uploader. Yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Sorry. I'm learning here. Let me actually go to my YouTube channel. Okay. There I am. Hi. All right, so I have my older phone so that I can test. There I am. Hi. I turned down the audio there. This way I can also see the chat. Okay, let me go ahead and set that up. Just gonna give it a few more minutes here to see if anybody else wants to show up. Well, hi everyone. I am Renee of RainbowBriteCo. And today we are doing a Saturday morning cartoon theme stream. I have my Rainbow Brite bowl and my Fruity Pebbles because I love Fruity Pebbles. Who doesn't love Fruity Pebbles? In addition to the original Rainbow Brite cereal, which was, I guess, more like a half Fruit Loop. Those things did not taste good. I know, I ate them. They were not good. So I have my cereal and I have my computer set up to start streaming Peril in the Pits. Now, Peril in the Pits originally aired on the 27th of June in 1984. I do not remember if I saw the original like airing. I remember watching it, but on a little black and white TV. So I'm not sure if it was like a re-airing or the same airing. I don't remember. I was 4. All right. So, but we're going to be watching the Peril in the Pits that is on the official Rainbow Brite YouTube channel. That is Rainbow Brite Official. And let's see, is anybody else showing up? Well, I am also wanting to bring up today that I'm wearing my Sweet Peas pajamas that I ordered. They have the licensed Rainbow Brite, and so they released these pajamas. They actually have a new set out now, which is more of a sundress style. It's in more of a pink. I like this one. It actually reminds me of the bed sheets from back then. I had those too. They're my favorite. Hi, Mindy. Aw, thank you. That's my friend Mindy. I think we'll start the show, though I'm going to be watching it on my computer. So the real, I guess, benefit of the stream here is that, you know, we can chat while it's playing. And then afterwards we'll do like a half an hour Q&A, depending on what people want to talk about. Go get my cereal. It's technically lunchtime for me, but I wanted to start the stream a little bit later so that people more in like the California area, that they could tune in at kind of a breakfasty time. Actually, I was living in California when Rainbow Bright came out. That's where I was born. No, you can't stream Peril in the Pits on your phone and watch at the same time, which is kind of like how I'm double doing it. I have my phone recording, and then I have my laptop to play the episode. All right, well, I'm going to start the episode here when Miley clocks tells me that it is 12:10. Fruity Pebbles. I'm eating Fruity Pebbles. I feel self-conscious. My mom, for example, she always said not to eat with your mouth full. All right, it is 12:10, so we're starting the episode. Oh, it starts with the Kiddie-O bumper, which the Kiddie-O bumper was because Deke actually started their own kind of a TV network or cartoon network back in 1980. I think it actually went on the air in 86, where they showed mostly the Deke cartoons. So the later episodes of the show always started with this introduction to Rainbow Bright, which highlighted stuff from the first three specials, which were Peril in the Pits, Monster Mark Menace, and Beginning of Rainbow Land, and the movie. But this right here, when we bring up the dog waiting for the bus to drop off Brian, that's how the special normally aired, other than the Rainbow Bright theme song that would play. Now the dog barking is Pat Fraley. And of course the voice of Brian is Scott Menville. The animation for the episode was done in Japan. So some people actually classify Rainbow Bright as an anime. I love the small details of the characters' faces, the way they emote. That's always been a special thing about the animation that I've always liked. Oh, that was a quick scene change right there. The scene actually was a little bit longer than what you saw. The stars on Twing's antenna are so tiny. Now, this is a topic that I think is rather interesting, which you can see when you see Rainbow Bright full screen. Her color of her arm sleeves match her shoes. So that's when you'll notice here that the last ring ends in red and then yellow. It's the other way around because it was supposed to mirror, her sleeves were supposed to mirror what was on her shoes. I do too. I really like Murky and Lurky. Was really cute about Lurky is in the animation, in the cards and in the books, he has a gloom cloud above his head, and that's what makes him gloomy. Without the gloom cloud, he's really very sweet. One thing you'll notice here too is you'll notice that the kids in the special are Red Butler, Canary Yellow, Patio Green, and Indigo. And those were the same dolls that were released first in 1984, along with Rainbow Bright, Starlight, Twink. I love Rainbow Lurky. He is so cute. Yep, and there's Patty. So yeah, the original toy release, the first toys were Red Butler, Canary Yellow, Patio Green, and Indigo, and with Rainbow Bright. And then they released the other characters later. You'll actually see the other characters in the background, like Buddy Blue and Canary Yellow, not Canary Yellow, but Shy Violet in the crowd scene at the end. The snatching of the blue star sprinkles. Mm, there's a filler line right there. That was Mona Marshall um, doing Brian's voice for that one scene. The filler for Brian was in the color castle when he goes, I guess I'm gonna go too. I'm really not sure animation wise why they switched the main color for Starlight, because in the plushies he has purple up front, and in the animation he has red, but in print he has blue. In reality, it's supposed to be the purple up front and cascade through the rest of the colors. I love how much of a priss that Starlight is. You know, it's like, I refuse to be dirty. Of course, Twink is super strong. Imagine he has to work in the mines. Well, the sprites normally do. I don't know so much for Twink. I love the facial expressions, they kill me. This is funny because technically, if you think about it for scale, a sprite is about the size of a baseball mitt. Aww. I love this episode. Yep. Rainbow Bright was twiddling with her hair. Well, that was it for the episode, at least for me. I'm not sure if everybody else caught up. Well, so that's the episode part. So now I guess it's the questions and answer part. Was there anybody that had any questions? Well, it says here that the stream's been going for about 30 minutes, which makes sense for the episode. But is this one of my favorite episodes? Yes, it is actually. It is actually one of my favorites. To me, I thought it had a good balance of actually introducing the characters and showing who the villains were and what perils there could be, because how could you make color um, not so much threatening, but you know, it's I guess because it makes you happy. Because colors make you happy. Yes, yes. Peril in the Pits was the original special that was released in January of '84, which is Rainbow Bright's birthday. They refer to that as her birthday because that was the date that this episode actually aired, which was yesterday. Yesterday was the anniversary. I was going to have the stream then, but decided to wait till Saturday so that more people would have a chance to tune in if they wanted to. I am planning on doing more live streams. I'm currently in this transition period where I'm trying to get things in my personal life cleaned up and set up. My favorite character is Twink. I've always loved Twink. Um, but second to that would be Shy Violet. Because I think, everyone loves Rainbow. I love Rainbow. But I think I related more to Twink. As for doing more live streams, I am trying to be a do a little bit more when it comes to episodes. The next episode to come out was The Mighty Monster Merc Manus, which was a two-parter, and it came out later in the year in '84, which I think I may do a stream for. I know that next month I am going to Los Angeles, California, to do a research trip. It is something that I have wanted to do the entire time I've done a fan page. Um, but I'm actually bringing it into fruition. So I'm looking forward to posting stuff that I find out while I'm there. Canary, Buddy, and Stormy now. Ah, yeah, well, because technically we as humans, we change as we grow, and our favorite colors can change. If you take a personality test, like for example, the say the Harry Potter, the Sorting Hat, you could get a different house depending on the time of day because of either how you feel or something that could you be thinking of one moment that you don't usually think of later, and it can completely change your results. So changing color kids, it makes sense. Yes, I ordered. Did I order the TLC? TLS, correction on that. Exclusives. Yes, I ordered the minifigure set that included all of, or minifigure, I mean chibis. I ordered the chibi set. Um, Mindy asked what was my favorite side character. Twink would technically be considered a side character, I would think. He's the sidekick. Or Shy Violet. Non-main character, yeah, would be probably be Shy. That is a good possibility. Why were the TLS exclusives overpriced? Probably because of the tariffs. Which the whole tariff thing, they had a similar issue back in the 1980s, around the time 1985, specifically with imported clothing. You will notice there was a lot of advertisements in the 80s through the early 90s that was made in the USA trying to encourage consumers to buy American versus having it imported. Yes, Kitty Bright sold out very quickly. Yes, it did. Kitty Bright was actually one of the more rarer plushes to get because she came out in the later half of 1985, 86, which was near the end of the toy run. So finding her was relatively rare because she wasn't in the episodes up until then. You didn't see her until the uh, it aired on Kideo, which wasn't until '86. My teacher worked on Rainbow Bright towards the end. Oh, I assume it was your art teacher. I asked her about Stormy. Yeah, according to Mattel, Stormy was originally pitched as a villain. Yes, villains don't sell. Um, so that's why she has a darker color scheme. But it looks like they ended up changing their mind production wise, because she didn't necessarily become a villain, more as she's the opposite of Rainbow Bright, but you can't have one without the other. You can't have rainbows without rain. There's actually a drawing teacher, Otis College. Oh, um, there is a collector in the Rainbow Bright fandom. She specializes in a lot of old 80s toys, Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright, and she specifically would get the prototypes. And so she actually got, her name was Galacticat on our forums, and she has the two of the prototypes for Skydancer, who was originally named Thunder, because if you have the Rainbow Bright press kit for the Rainbow Bright and Stormy racing scene, at the bottom it says her horse Thunder. And that was because the name had not cleared copyright at that point and was changed to Skydancer. Aw, well, thank you. I'm hoping for more from TLS Wishlist. Oh, yes, yes. It depends on whether or not they decide to branch out to do movie characters. Well, just from the show, everybody and their cousin wants a color castle. The 2004 2005 color castle, which is very rare, they didn't really make a whole lot of those, is a major commodity. And it, to me, it was incomplete because it was only the main color castle and not the other spires around it for each color kit. And they pitched doing the color cottages, which were for the sprites. There was some advertisements for those on the Color Castle box, but they never released them. So the Color Castle is one, and the Color Cottages, the little dome houses, would probably be something fun. As for characters, I would really, really love for them, because I've seen the photos of the retro doll, which they did a retro doll back in her 20th anniversary back in 2004, which was released at Hot Topic. It looked like the doll, but the box wasn't right. So this one that I've seen, where it is the doll in a replica of the Mattel box, I like that. I would love for them to do the other characters, to expand it and basically do like a retro re-release so that people can finish their collections, in box or not, or they can start their collections. Um, for example, they did the Rainbow Bright dress up doll, and Stormy Moonglow and Tickled Pink were introduced as dress-up dolls, but they weren't introduced as a standard doll. The standard doll, the costumes were actually their bodies, so that you didn't, you never really had a naked doll. They had pieces that came off, such as shorts and socks and other things like that, but they weren't really a naked doll. And that was really good, having those parts sewn on to the doll itself. So seeing a Moonglow, Stormy, and a Tickled Pink as a standard doll would be good too, because then you could have an entire in the box set versus the dress up doll where everything came off and you lose everything. Horses and sprites for the 5.5 would be nice. And Murky and Lurky and the car. Yes, the grunge buggy. The grunge buggy was one that was never made, which I can kind of understand that in the 80s, because if you saw the size of Lurky compared to Murky, the car would have been basically like a Power Wheel. It would have been huge. Because it's just a buggy. I forget the style of, like, it's like a dirt, it's like a go-kart or a dirt cart or dune buggy. I think it's a dune buggy. Is the type that it's designed after, with a garbage can on the side. They never actually released a Pitts playset either. In England, they had a paper doll a playset where it had all the characters, all the color kids and Murky and Lurky, and the book opened up and you had sets for inside of the pits and inside of the color castle, and they were so that you could like play with them that way. But actually having a physical play set, yeah, it is difficult. They could do sprites like Master of the Universe Grizzlor. I remember Grizzlor. Wait a minute. Oh, you mean like actually like full? No. No, sprites are cute. Grizzlor wasn't cute. I do think that maybe, well, because you have in the TLS toys, they have the micro chibis, and those are really cute. Um, Plastic faces and body with plush overlay. Oh, no, no, no. It was flocking. It had the hard plastic like in the flock body. It's kind of like the hard body horses. Starlight and Sunriser. They had a soft outer layer, which is cute for but it doesn't really hold up to heat. Um, you'll notice that in a lot of used plushies or ones that have flocking today. You'll have worn spots. They get dirty easy and hard to clean off, because if you try to clean the flocking, you can damage it and it'll come completely off, and it's just a hard surface underneath. Now, they did do in 2004, they tried to do glowing sprites, but they ended up looking like little gorillas or monkeys or something, because they weren't plushy. They were all hard. And I didn't think they looked really cute. No, they dropped the ball on that one. The chibis went deep, but still missing a few characters. Yes. The chibis, they have gone over almost all of your basic characters, except for movie. Movie characters such as Chris, Orin, Spectre and Sprites, the Dark Princess, all that. That is a whole different ball of wax. Whether or not they will do movie characters, I don't know. I would have I would have thought they would have gone that way when they released the movie. They would have had like an Onyx and a Chris, um, which would have been all molded plastic, because unlike Sunriser and Starlight, Onyx was a robotic horse, and he could have like flashing red lights on his feet and a little robotic voice. I don't know. But that's whether or not they decided to do movie characters or not. Murky's mom would be so cute as a toy. I don't like Murky's mom. I'm sorry. That episode for me is terrible. I don't like it. It's not because I don't like mothers. I just hate the way that they portrayed a mother. To me, Murky. What is it? Oh, you're laughing at me. Uh, yeah, I didn't like Murky's mom. I didn't like the episode mom because it made it very abusive. And to me, a mother is someone who is very loving and nurturing. And, well, for example, if you want to eat your breakfast cereal with a fork, they'll let you. Because you're a kid, and but for his hate of color to come from a punishment from his mom, and her take no accountability, is I didn't like it. Mm-mm. Now, unfortunately, I also did not see that episode until I was an adult. I did not know there were other episodes beyond the movie and Beginning of Rainbow Land, and that, because Beginning of Rainbow Land was the last one that I saw, other than I saw the film. But I did not know there were other videos, because every time I went to the video store, my mom would say, "You've seen that already." I would pick up Rainbow Bright. "I want this one." "You've seen that one already." I'm like, okay, so I wouldn't get it. And I found out later, oh no, it isn't that I hadn't seen it already. Is that at first in 1985, yes, I had, but they had released more in 86. My mom didn't know. And so I didn't see them until I was 18. And maybe that's why I didn't like them. I wasn't 5 anymore. I'm sad more color kids weren't involved in the cartoon like in the books. Yeah, yeah, the that would most likely be, the books themselves were written um, by people that were involved with Hallmark, and I'm, in my opinion, more seasoned in than those who write for television. Um, but the fact that everyone says that it went on for between 1984 through 1987 and only had 13 episodes. It technically only had one season because they put the specials in with the TV version stuff and made that the season. And unfortunately, it's not that it went over that many years. We actually had 1984 and 85, and it only had 3 episodes. The other ones didn't come until 86. And in my fault, I didn't have TV at that time, so I never saw them. I didn't have Kideo. Yes, luckily the animation was beautiful. Deke outsourced their animation to Japan. And in outsourcing it to Japan is where we got a lot of the wonderful character design. For example, in the one we just watched. But the difference is the first 2, specifically Mighty Monster Mark Menace and Peril in the Pits, were TV specials. So a lot of the money went to making them really, really detailed. where to me, a lot of those details got lost in the later episodes. You had a lot of recycled footage where it was like the same sequence. It was reanimated, but it was the exact same sequence um, as a way of, I guess, cutting corners. And so the later episodes to me aren't as pretty as they could be. I do wonder sometimes what it would be like. Have you ever seen the Shrek retold, where artists will take a sequence of Shrek the movie and they'll like reanimate it in different ways? Not saying that this is a good idea, but it's an idea. I always wondered what it would be like if people did that for older animated cartoons, such as, for example, Rainbow Bright. Just took a sequence of it and tried to update or change the animation to something more modern, but it still be the same, story. It still be the same voice actors, but the animation changed. I think that that would be interesting. It'd be a cute little like April Fool's Day. They did that one time on April Fool's. All of the when April Fool's Day landed on Sunday, all the Sunday comics shifted their animation and or their illustrations, and they changed. For example, like Snoopy would be, or the Peanuts would be in the style of Garfield, and Garfield would be in the style of Snoopy. It was cute. I liked it when they did that. And I remember Masters of the Universe did a comic uh, based on Orko that did that. Chibi's is missing Sky Dancer, Moonglow, and Night Sprite. The Chibis did Moonglow. The micro Chibis um, did those. But the regular Chibis, no, they did a Moonglow. They didn't do they haven't done any sprites other than Twink in the regular Chibis. Though I can see how you could probably expand into doing more sprites. One of the bonuses about Rainbow Bright in general is technically everyone has a favorite color. So it's usually people will base their favorite characters just on the colors. I mean, look at Power Rangers. It's like, oh, who's your favorite one? Oh, the red one. Why specifically? Oh, I like red. Though poor Red Butler has not been getting any love. You go to Five Below and they have tons of Red Butlers. And it's just like, why nobody love red? Poor guy. I don't know. It could be how many they made. I don't know how many they ended up making of them. Any info on baby sprites? I could have sworn I saw a cream colored one on eBay a long time ago. Baby sprites. The only baby sprites that I remember them releasing recently was they'd had them at Hallmark and they were solid plushies. Like their faces were plush. They didn't have unlike the 80s ones where they had a molded sprite face, but it was smaller and more cutesy. As for doing those, I don't know. Personally, I always find procreation in my toys kind of disturbing. Don't get me wrong, having a baby version is cute, but as for new toys with that, I haven't seen anything with baby sprites. No. If there, I wouldn't put any out either because they have yet to introduce girl sprites at this point. Because they've done the mini chibis, and they did the mini chibis in all the colors of the boy sprites, but they've never done the girls yet. And the girls were supposed to be pastels. At least that's what, they pitched them as in 85 and 86. They were saying that the girls were the pastel colors. But I haven't seen them, like Delight and Melody, and I haven't seen them. Uh-oh, we're getting near our cutoff time. Our cutoff time would be 1 hour, and we are within that last minute. Did they appear in the media besides the cutouts? Did they release baby sprites back in the 80s? Yes, they were in bubbles. They were little plushies. They had they were like the sprite faces, only they were really, really small and soft molded. And they were two-toned. So like one part of them would be one color, another part was another color, because my theory on that is that they would develop their colors later on as they grow up. But they released plushies back in the 80s, and they did it again back in 2016, 2018 at Hallmark stores. But other than that, those have been the only physical baby sprite plushes that they came out with. And they didn't come out with them in little molded toys like the micro chibis or the mini chibis. Because I have seen where the baby sprites, vintage ones, have shown up. They were really popular. They advertised them in Italy and in Germany and more overseas than they did here. I don't even think they released them here. Anytime I see them, it's always in foreign advertisements like Germany and Italy and France. I have them, all the Mexican sprites. Oh, yeah, they released are you talking about, you say you have the Mexican sprites. Those were the ones that were released in 2010 that went to Kmart. I think it was Kmart in Mexico. And they were of Twilight, Twink, and the Playmates ones. Congratulations on finding those. Those didn't come up here, so the Mexican ones are very sought after, collector-wise. Yeah, because it was Shimmer. No, Shimmer was the horse. Twilight, Twilight, Night Sprite, and Twink. So yeah, that was it. Just those three. Those weren't considered baby sprites, though. Addicted to sprites. I bet you have a sprite infestation, don't you? Where it's like you're like that commercial from 1985 when they had the Taco Bell sprites, and there was sprites in everything in the kitchen. You have an infestation of sprites. Well, it has been an hour, so I'm going to cut this off. But I want to thank everyone who did tune in. And I do hope to possibly do more of these at a later time. Do keep an eye on my Instagram and Facebook, which is RainbowBriteCo. And if you have any questions that I have not covered here, you just leave them in the comments or send me a message on any of my social media. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.